Welcome to Malice and Mystery, where shadows whisper and the unknown beckons. Enter a realm of spine-tingling horror, eerie mysteries, and chilling tales. From real-life paranormal encounters to unsolved enigmas and bone-chilling urban legends, we bring you the darkest stories from the depths of the unknown. Subscribe if you dare, and remember, some mysteries are best left unsolved. The most haunted schools in the world. Ghostly tales from Poveglia to Winchester. Introduction, a journey into the supernatural. In the obscure corners of education, where history meets mystery, certain schools have gained reputations that go beyond their academic achievements. These institutions, scattered around the globe, stand as monuments to both learning and the supernatural. Generations of students and faculty reporting encounters that defy rational explanation. From ancient boarding schools steeped in centuries of tradition to modern urban campuses built on forgotten grounds, these educational establishments have become hotspots for ghostly activity, attracting curious minds and skeptical investigators alike. The phenomenon of haunted schools represents a unique intersection between the pursuit of knowledge and the exploration of the unknown. Unlike private residences or commercial buildings, schools operate continuously with a constant flow of young, impressionable minds who serve as both witnesses and conduits for paranormal events. The nature of educational institutions housing hundreds of students operating around the clock and often occupying historic buildings creates an environment particularly conducive to supernatural occurrences. Long hallways echo with footsteps that shouldn't be there. Classrooms remain cold despite central heating, and dormitories host nightly visitors who never appear on the student roster. What sets these haunted schools apart from other allegedly haunted locations is their dual role as centers of enlightenment and crucibles of fear. While universities like Oxford and Cambridge boast ghost stories dating back centuries, newer institutions have quickly developed their own spectral legends. In Japan, schools contend with traditional yurei alongside modern urban legends. While American high schools often harbor tales of tragic accidents and unresolved conflicts, the pattern repeats worldwide. In Australia, Aboriginal spirits are said to haunt colonial-era schoolhouses. In Europe, medieval plague victims reportedly wander through ancient university corridors. And in South America, indigenous beliefs merge with Catholic traditions to create unique haunting narratives. These schools share common traits that make them particularly susceptible to supernatural claims. Many occupied buildings that have stood for generations, witnessing countless human dramas and tragedies. Others sit atop sites of historical significance or previous burial grounds, carrying the weight of past lives into the present. The emotional intensity of adolescence, combined with academic pressure, creates an atmosphere where perceptions can blur between reality and imagination. Yet, regardless of cultural context or architectural style, these institutions consistently generate reports of unexplained phenomena, suggesting that something more than mere coincidence connects these global paranormal hotspots. Number 1. Poveglia Island Asylum, a floating nightmare of education. Nestled in the Venetian lagoon, Poveglia Island stands as one of the most infamous haunted locations worldwide, its dark history spanning nearly 2 millennia. Initially established as a refuge for plague victims during the Black Death, the island became a quarantine station where thousands met their end in horrific circumstances. In the early 20th century, the Italian government transformed this grim site into a mental asylum, which soon earned a reputation as one of the most haunted institutions in existence. The asylum's director, Dr. Giuseppe Mazzini, conducted brutal experiments on patients, pushing the boundaries of medical ethics far beyond acceptable limits until his mysterious death by apparent suicide. Or so the official records claim. In the 1950s, the island was repurposed into an educational institution for troubled youth, adding new layers to its already grim legacy. Students and staff reported vivid hallucinations, anguished cries echoing through empty hallways, and shadowy figures moving through mist-shrouded courtyards. Maintenance workers found fresh bloodstains on ancient stone walls that vanished without explanation. while teachers felt watched during late-night grading sessions. The most disturbing accounts came from students who described being touched by unseen hands or waking to find ghostly faces hovering above their beds. Perhaps the most documented case involves Maria Conti, a former teacher who kept detailed journals of her experiences on the island. Her writings describe recurring visions of a man in a white coat, presumably Dr. Mazzini, performing surgeries on screaming patients in abandoned wings of the building. Other staff members corroborated her accounts, reporting similar apparitions and unexplained medical equipment movements in sealed-off sections of the asylum. Several investigations were launched, including one by renowned paranormal researcher Professor Giovanni Ricci, whose team captured audio recordings of what they believed to be authentic distress calls from long-dead patients. Despite numerous attempts to sanitize the island's reputation through renovation and repurposing, Poveglia continues to resist rehabilitation. In 2014, a wealthy businessman purchased the property intending to convert it into a luxury hotel and educational retreat. However, construction workers refused to stay overnight, after reporting multiple injuries attributed to invisible forces. Security footage revealed inexplicable movements of heavy equipment and tools, while thermal imaging cameras detected numerous cold spots throughout the complex. The project was eventually abandoned, leaving the island once again to its ghosts and the memories of those who suffered within its walls. The persistent nature of Poveglia's haunting has drawn researchers from various disciplines, including psychology, history, and parapsychology. Their studies have uncovered patterns suggesting that the island's supernatural activity intensifies during specific lunar phases and seasonal changes, particularly around significant dates in its dark history. Local fishermen still refuse to approach the island after sunset, claiming that the waters surrounding it feel different and that their nets often come up empty when cast too close to shore. This combination of historical trauma, documented supernatural phenomena, and ongoing resistance to redevelopment has cemented Poveglia's status as perhaps the most haunted educational institution in the world. Number 2, Winchester College, where history whispers through the halls. Nestled in the ancient city of Winchester, Winchester College was established in 1382 by William of Wykeham. With over 6 centuries of academic tradition, it stands as one of England's oldest and most respected educational institutions. However, beyond its renowned scholarly reputation lies a maze of supernatural occurrences interwoven into its history, becoming an integral part of its heritage. Among the most infamous hauntings is that of the Warden's Lodgings, where the spirit of Thomas Garnier, a former headmaster who died mysteriously in 1870, is said to roam. Staff and students have reported over 300 sightings of his figure, dressed in Victorian academic robes, pacing the upper corridors at midnight since the 1920s. The college's medieval architecture, with its labyrinth of secret passages and hidden chambers, provides a fitting backdrop for such supernatural activity. The Scholars' Cloister is particularly active, with temperature drops of up to 20 degrees Celsius noted during spectral events. Witnesses describe hearing Latin recitations echoing through the arches and the scent of burning beeswax candles without an apparent source. Especially eerie are accounts from new students who claim to be guided through the complex layout by an unseen presence during their initial weeks up. Phenomenon attributed to the ghost of orientation, believed to be the spirit of a prefect who died while assisting new students. During a storm in 1642, scientific investigations into Winchester's hauntings have produced fascinating results. Thermal imaging by the Society for Psychical Research revealed patterns of electromagnetic anomalies across the campus, especially in areas linked to historical tragedies. The most compelling evidence comes from audio recordings in the college's ancient library, where electronic voice phenomena sessions have captured clear responses to questions about the institution's history. These responses, analyzed by linguistic experts, show knowledge of events and architectural details preceding any living person's experience, indicating an intelligent presence behind the phenomena. Winchester College's administration has kept a detailed archive of supernatural encounters, systematically documenting each incident since the 1950s. This methodical approach has identified cyclical patterns in ghostly activities, with certain manifestations occurring on the anniversaries of historical events. For instance, on October 18th, the anniversary of a catastrophic fire in 1730 that killed 17. Students' shadowy figures in period-appropriate clothing are captured on security cameras in the rebuilt dormitory wing. Similarly, during exams, students often report an invisible presence overseeing their work, thought to be the spirit of Sir Robert Ruth, an 18th century examiner whose commitment to academic integrity seems to persist beyond the grave. Remarkably, Winchester College has seamlessly integrated its supernatural legacy into its academic mission. The institution offers a unique course in historical phenomenology, exploring the intersection of documented historical events and reported paranormal activities within the college's walls. This academic approach has attracted researchers from diverse fields, leading to significant studies in environmental psychology and consciousness research. The college's archives now house one of the world's most comprehensive collections of verified paranormal data, making Winchester not only a center of traditional learning, but also a pioneer in exploring the boundaries between the natural and supernatural realms. Number 3, Aokigahara Forest Academy, where nature meets the supernatural. Nestled within Japan's notorious Aokigahara Forest, the secluded Aokigahara Forest Academy stands as a stark reminder of humanity's attempt to reclaim hallowed ground. Established in 1968 as part of a government initiative to combat the region's tragic reputation. The school occupies the site of an ancient Shinto shrine dedicated to forest spirits. The decision to build an educational institution here was controversial, with local priests cautioning that the land's spiritual energy would reject such intrusion. Their warnings proved tragically accurate when, within the first year of operation, 3 teachers mysteriously disappeared during separate incidents, leaving behind trails of disturbed earth leading deeper into the woods. The academy's architecture reflects a tenuous balance between modern education and traditional Japanese beliefs. Its buildings incorporate Shinto elements. Story gates mark each entrance. Salt barriers line the foundations, and purification fonts stand at every corner, but these measures seem ineffective against the forest's influence. Students report that classroom windows fog over with strange symbols during lectures, while blackboards spontaneously fill with kanji characters describing ancient rituals. Most unsettling are the accounts of Komayuna's statue's traditional guardian. Lion dogs placed at entrances changing positions overnight or vanishing entirely, only to be discovered miles away within the forest. Local folklore speaks of eerie, vengeful spirits who patrol the school's perimeter, heralded by sudden drops in temperature and the sound of rustling leaves even in still air. Teachers describe feeling watched during evening classes, their attention drawn to reflections in windows where pale faces briefly appear before vanishing. The school's basement, originally intended for storage, remains sealed after maintenance workers reported seeing shadowy figures practicing archaic calligraphy on the concrete walls, using what seemed to be their own blood. Attempts to investigate these claims have consistently failed, as equipment malfunctions and memory loss affect anyone spending extended time below ground level. The forest itself appears to exert a malevolent influence on the school's technology. Surveillance cameras frequently capture distorted images of students walking through walls or disappearing mid-step. While computers display error messages written in classical Japanese, cell phone signals become erratic within the campus boundaries, often connecting to numbers that haven't been in service for decades. Most chilling are the emergency calls received by local authorities from phones belonging to missing persons. Their voices distorted yet recognizable, pleading for help from locations that don't exist on any map. Despite these unsettling phenomena, the Academy continues to operate, driven by a mixture of bureaucratic inertia and genuine belief in its mission. The current principal, Hiroshi Tanaka, maintains that the school serves an important purpose in helping students understand and respect Japan's spiritual heritage. However, his office remains one of the few safe spaces on campus, protected by layers of traditional wards and blessed objects collected from shrines across the country. Even here, staff report hearing faint whispers during quiet moments, voices speaking in languages that predate written records. Their words forming patterns that some scholars believe represent an ancient warning about disturbing sacred ground. The school's situation has created a unique subculture among its students, many of whom develop an intimate understanding of both modern science and traditional spiritual practices. They formed unofficial clubs dedicated to documenting and analyzing supernatural phenomena. Their findings carefully recorded in handmade books bound with paper blessed by local priests. These students serve as both witnesses to and participants in the ongoing dialogue between the natural and supernatural worlds. Their experiences shaping a new understanding of how ancient spirits interact with contemporary society. Yet, despite their efforts, the forest continues to reclaim its territory, slowly erasing buildings and paths as if determined to remove all traces of human interference. Number 4. St. Augustine's Institute. Echoes of colonial shadows, set against the dramatic backdrop of Cape Town. St. Augustine's Institute rises from its hilltop perch as a testament to South Africa's intricate colonial history. Its red brick exterior hides a deep-seated legacy of cultural clashes and paranormal unrest. Established in 1823 by Dutch settlers, the institute was built over the remnants of a Khoisan settlement, displacing the native population. The spirits of these ancestors are said to haunt the halls to this day. Renovation efforts in 1994 unearthed stones from demolished tribal meeting places in the foundation, and reports of paranormal phenomena spiked. Both students and staff began having vivid dreams of colonial-era battles, while security cameras captured shadowy figures performing traditional dances in empty courtyards. The library, located in what was once the colonial governor's residence, is the heart of these supernatural occurrences. Books there mysteriously rearrange themselves according to an unknown system, often reflecting ancient Xhosa divination methods. Researchers have found that volumes recounting colonial narratives of indigenous cultures often open spontaneously to pages detailing historical atrocities against local tribes. During full moons, the entire collection emits a low-pitched hum that echoes through the ancient stone walls. Sangomas, or local healers, who visit claim these vibrations represent the collective grief of displaced ancestors, seeking recognition of past wrongs. The main assembly hall experiences the most intense cultural tensions, with temperature swings of up to 15 degrees Celsius during ceremonies blending Western and African traditions. Witnesses describe seeing translucent figures dressed in colonial military uniforms facing off against shadowy forms in traditional tribal attire, engaged in silent standoffs lasting hours. These occurrences are especially prevalent during reconciliation events marking significant apartheid-era anniversaries, suggesting a link between historical trauma and supernatural activity. Some researchers believe these manifestations function as a collective memory, compelling contemporary onlookers to confront uncomfortable truths about the nation's history. In response to these supernatural events, the Institute's administration has implemented a unique cultural integration program. Traditional healers now collaborate with academic staff to create courses that delve into the intersection of indigenous beliefs and colonial history. This initiative has led to surprising insights into the hauntings, particularly when acknowledging historical injustices seems to temporarily alleviate paranormal activity. For example, after formally recognizing the displacement of the original Khoisan inhabitants in 2010, incidents of violent poltergeist activity dropped by nearly 40%, according to Institute records. However, new manifestations appear whenever development projects threaten nearby sacred sites, indicating an ongoing negotiation between past and present land occupants. St. Augustine has thus evolved into a focal point for examining how supernatural phenomena can foster healing and cross-cultural understanding. The Institute's annual Heritage Week now features traditional cleansing ceremonies conducted by local elders, which have successfully reduced negative manifestations while raising awareness of indigenous perspectives among students and staff. These rituals, combined with academic research into the psychological impact of historical trauma, have transformed St. Augustine's from a haunted institution into a living laboratory for understanding how the past continues to shape the present through both tangible and intangible means. Number 5. Beyond the Veil. Patterns in educational hauntings. The investigation of supernatural phenomena in schools reveals patterns beyond cultural and geographical boundaries. Each school shows a strong link between its physical environment, historical traumas, and ongoing supernatural events. The most common finding is the timing of hauntings. Peak activity aligns with key anniversaries of traumatic events or environmental disturbances, influenced by both calendrical and spatial factors. Older buildings with underground spaces and layered construction exhibit more supernatural activity, acting as amplifiers for historical energies. Stone and brick materials seem to retain and transmit paranormal activity better than modern materials. Students and staff typically start skeptical but gradually accept supernatural phenomena, similar to cultural assimilation. The ghost orientation at Winchester College shows that supernatural entities may play protective roles. Systematic observation at Winchester and St. Augustine's turns fear into understanding, making supernatural phenomena subjects of study. Natural features like forests and water bodies sustain hauntings, interacting with measurable physical forces. The correlation with lunar phases and seasonal changes suggests a complex relationship between natural cycles and supernatural occurrences. Supernatural phenomena can serve as conduits for historical memory and cultural reconciliation. Reduced activity after formal recognitions at St. Augustine's implies that hauntings may be attempts at communication. This perspective transforms haunted schools into dynamic spaces where past and present engage in ongoing dialogue. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you found this video intriguing. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe and tap the notification bell to stay updated with more mysterious tales. Until next time, keep your curiosity alive and stay cautious.